Today, we're discussing a book titled Designing Your Life: How to Build a Well-Lived, Joyful Life by Bill Burnett and Dave Evans. The book has a total of 170,000 words, and I'll spend about 25 minutes discussing its essence: how to use design thinking to create a happy and meaningful life. Many of us have various ideals, like becoming a doctor, lawyer, or scientist. However, after achieving these dreams, you might find that daily life is nothing like you imagined, monotonous and repetitive. This prompts some to want to give up, yet they persist, unwilling to concede. Why does this happen? According to the book, this issue arises from planning thinking, which views life as an engineering project where every detail can be pre-planned and goals must be steadfastly achieved. However, this approach is flawed. Many initially set their goals by following the crowd or simply meeting the expectations of others. But as one's horizons, abilities, and resources evolve, so too do their aspirations. And if the chosen path is wrong from the start, persistence only leads you further astray. Planning thinking, it turns out, is a significant pitfall. What's the solution? The book introduces a new idea: using design thinking to plan your life. Design thinking asks us to approach life's challenges dynamically, like a product designer, redefining problems, identifying numerous possibilities, and then quickly experimenting to find the best solution. This approach can help you forge a meaningful, joyful, and fulfilling life. The market is flooded with management books on career planning, like Ken Robinson's Finding Your Element, which helps us find jobs that ignite our passion by focusing on talents, and Cal Newport's So Good They Can't Ignore You, which is about improving workplace skills to enhance competitiveness. This book we're discussing introduces a new mindset: design thinking. Overall, it's a highly practical guide to career planning. Now, let me break down the use of design thinking into 4 aspects. 1. How to reassess your life using design thinking. 2. How to find your direction. 3. How to design more possibilities for your life. 4. How to become immune to failure. Part 1. Reassessing life using design thinking. If you are dissatisfied with your life and unsure where the problem lies, you need to reassess your situation. This involves 2 steps: identifying gravity problems and using a dashboard for testing. Let me explain in detail. First, identify gravity problems. These are issues that cannot be solved. For designers, an unsolvable problem is not considered a problem. For example, someone might say, "I've been unemployed for 5 years, and it's even harder to find a job now." Or, "I want to return to school to become a doctor, but it requires 10 years which I'm not willing to spend." These are essentially unsolvable issues. You can't change an employer's impression of someone unemployed for 5 years, nor can you shorten the time required for medical school. Like gravity, these issues are unchangeable. Excellent designers accept these facts as they are. Accepting your current situation is the starting point of all design, including the design of your life. Next, use the dashboard for testing. If you want to understand where your life may be going wrong, the authors offer a testing tool called the dashboard, which assesses 4 elements: work, play, health, and love. Much like a car's dashboard, you can evaluate your life by assessing the satisfaction of each element. For work, jot down your daily tasks, noting which are rewarding and which are not. If you're a homemaker, activities like caring for children and cooking are considered work. Assess how satisfied you are with your work, whether it fulfills your values, whether it makes you happy, and whether it gives you a sense of achievement. Then rate your overall satisfaction. Similarly, assess your health by checking your physical condition, ideally with a medical checkup, and evaluate your emotional and mental health. For play, write down your leisure activities and see how many are pursued for fun rather than value. Many people are unhappy because they are too harsh on themselves, allowing too little time for pure fun, leading to a loss of passion for work. Lastly, love encompasses love for a partner, children, parents, and friends. List how much love you give and receive, and whether you can feel it. By evaluating these 4 elements, you can objectively determine where your problems lie. Your sense of happiness in life stems from the balance of these elements. If one aspect is lacking, it can significantly affect your satisfaction with life, no matter how strong the others are. Of course, a perfect balance is impossible, but the key is to know what you care most about. This is crucial for designing a life that satisfies you, as life's choices are not about right or wrong, but about your satisfaction. We've discussed how to reassess your life, highlighting the nature of design thinking, which emphasizes dynamically addressing the challenges at different stages of life. Imagine if you were a product designer who identified a market need and designed an app. After launch, if the market responds well, have you succeeded? A real designer knows the journey has just begun. A product needs constant iteration, operation, competition, and new features, facing different challenges at each stage. Ultimately, you'll realize that you've designed a process where countless new issues will always arise. Life is similar. It's a process full of never-ending new challenges. Whenever you encounter a problem, you must reassess and find new solutions. There's no such thing as a one-size-fits-all plan that solves all issues, allowing you to rest easy. The planning thinking we discussed earlier aims to plan life thoroughly, but it often leads to various predicaments. Design thinking, however, requires abandoning the quest for ultimate solutions and treating the identification, definition, and resolution of problems as a normal part of life. To summarize, if you're unsatisfied with your current life, you need to reassess it. Identify gravity problems, use the dashboard for testing, and evaluate the 4 key elements of work, health, play, and love to see if they're in balance. By reassessing your life, you'll understand where you are, where the problems lie, and where changes are needed. We've also discussed the characteristics of design thinking, which emphasizes using a dynamic perspective to address problems at various life stages, treating the discovery, definition, and resolution of problems as a normal routine. Part 2. Finding your direction. We've talked about reassessing your life using design thinking. Now, let's discuss the second point, finding your direction. We know that a product must be iterated continuously to improve, but in what direction should it be iterated? This is a major question that product designers must consider from the start, as it affects how you define the product and how your users perceive it. Even a slight deviation can determine how far the product can go. Life is similar. Finding your direction and continuously refining it in areas you are passionate about is crucial. To find your direction, you must answer a challenging question. What do you want? This question seems simple, but is difficult to answer. Most people might say they want money, fame, status, or influence because these improve their lives. We can collectively refer to these as potential energy, which your job is to accumulate. Now, let's imagine this potential energy as fuel that a rocket burns to ascend. The more fuel it has, the more stable and higher it flies. However, the purpose of a rocket is not to rise indefinitely but to deliver satellites into space. It has a direction and a mission. Most of our lives are spent working. If you work just to improve your life, you'll feel lost once you're satisfied. Following this line of thinking, you need to reconsider your view of work. Besides improving your living conditions, can the potential energy you accumulate through your job connect to a greater purpose? Do you have a star you want to send into the sky? Remember, any job can accumulate potential energy, but each job's meaning and goals differ. Many people are confused because they haven't considered this question. So, you can desire more potential energy, but these are results of your ongoing efforts and means to pursue greater goals. How can you know what you really want? The author provides a tool called the Good Time Journal, which involves noting 2 states in a notebook: your energy fluctuations and flow experiences. First, let's talk about energy fluctuations. All activities we engage in daily, whether physical or mental, consume our energy. However, some activities make us feel that the energy gained outweighs the energy spent. For instance, if you enjoy writing, the sense of achievement and joy you feel after finishing an article will exceed the energy you expended in writing, leaving you feeling happy and energized. Use this as a metric to see which activities energize you and which you must endure. Next, consider flow experiences. We've often talked about flow, which refers to being completely immersed in a state where time seems to stand still or you're wholly unaware of its passage. You know exactly what you're doing and how to do it, feeling extremely excited and elated yet appearing calm. Whether you're engaged in physical or mental activities, you can enter a state of flow. Observing and recording flow experiences is an important indicator for finding direction. Using the Good Time Journal makes it relatively easy to discover what you truly want. The book provides an example of a client named Michael, a civil engineer. He was successful in his career but found life boring and restless, and his job made him miserable. After consulting with the author, he started keeping a Good Time Journal, constantly monitoring himself. He realized that when dealing with complex engineering challenges, he was full of energy and highly engaged. However, when dealing with complex interpersonal relationships, he was utterly miserable. Once he understood this, he realized he didn't dislike his current job but wanted more time to work alone. He also found a meaningful purpose for his work, using safer engineering solutions to save lives. Now, with more time to work alone and a clear direction provided by the meaning of his work, he is more fulfilled. From this case, we can see that when we say, "I don't like my job," we might actually be referring to certain aspects of the job. If you find your current job unhappy, try keeping a Good Time Journal. Identify what inspires you, adjust your focus, and then give it meaning. At that point, you'll be like a rocket with your own targets, knowing what you want and firmly progressing on your path. To summarize, this section discussed how to find your direction. First, identify what you want by keeping a Good Time Journal and recording two states: energy fluctuations and flow experiences. Then, adjust your work focus based on what stimulates these states, helping you find your direction. Part 3. Designing more possibilities for life. After finding your direction, how can you design more possibilities for your life? This is the third point we want to share. A product designer typically creates several versions of a product prototype and then chooses the best one. Similarly, we use design thinking to design multiple life versions, then select the most suitable one for ourselves. You might ask, since we can only live one life, is it meaningful to design so many versions? The answer is, it's very meaningful. A research team at Stanford University School of Education conducted an experiment comparing the performance of two groups when facing problems. The first group was asked to come up with 3 solutions to a problem, while the second group was asked to think of only one. The results showed that the first group performed better, not only proposing more solutions but also achieving better results with each solution. The second group, meanwhile, kept refining one solution, which essentially lacked any innovation. This shows that having multiple plans prevents you from being stuck on one path. When a current plan is unfeasible, you won't fall into despair. In reality, as mentioned earlier, the things that can energize you and bring you to a state of flow are not limited to one. The real world is complex and ever-changing. We need to do not only what we love, but also what meets market demands and has value. Market demands are constantly changing, and when faced with difficulties, we don't have to stick to one path. Remember, there are many other possibilities in life. How can you design more possibilities? The author offers a method called the Odyssey Plan. The Odyssey is one of the masterpieces of the ancient Greek poet Homer, telling the story of the protagonist's adventures at sea. Homer uses this to metaphorically suggest that life is like an adventure. To ensure you don't lose direction on this journey, the author suggests coming up with 3 versions of your Odyssey plan, each spanning 5 years. The first version is what you can do now. This version might be an extension of your current life, such as a long-considered idea that excites you every time you think about it, an idea that can advance your current career. The second version is what you would like to do if your current activities become unfeasible. This often happens in professional careers, such as when the market you serve is suddenly disrupted by new technologies, rendering your skills and experience unmarketable. Or perhaps your industry suddenly disappears. What would you do then? This version requires completely different skills and a fresh start. How would you like to make a living then? The third version is what you would do if you could do anything. Suppose you have financial freedom and plenty of time, and nothing is too difficult. What would you want to do? Although this is hypothetical, it can also help you discover what truly matters to you. Once you've designed these three versions, the next step is to engage in prototype design. What is prototype design? It involves trying things to gain real experience. For example, if you want to open a coffee shop, you could first work in a coffee shop to see how they hire staff, purchase supplies, take inventory, and maintain equipment. The author calls this a prototype experience. Or you could interview some coffee shop owners, such as 3 happy owners and 3 angry ones, to see why they feel that way, what problems they encounter in running their coffee shops, whether you can solve these problems, and what kind of owner you would be. The author calls this a prototype interview. Through prototype experiences and prototype interviews, you can validate whether your choices are suitable. Because prototype design requires less time and effort, it's a good method for trial and error and adjustments. We can use this method to design the life version that truly suits us in the shortest time. To summarize, faced with market uncertainty and the diversity of our capabilities, we need to design 3 life versions like designers. The first is what you can do now, which is an extension of your current life version. The second is what you would like to do if your current activities become unfeasible, requiring different skills and experiences. The third is what you would do if you could do anything. This helps you discover what truly matters to you. Then, through prototype experiences and prototype interviews, you gain real experiences to test, adjust your plans, and ultimately choose the life design that truly suits you. Part 4. How to become immune to failure. We've discussed how to design more possibilities. Next, we'll share a very important point: how to become immune to failure. Product designers spend their days identifying problems, defining them, and solving them. Excellent product designers have a fundamental ability to resist setbacks and blows. The same applies to life's journey. Setbacks are normal, but we can train ourselves to react to setbacks and failures, becoming immune to failure like we've been vaccinated against it, reducing the impact of negative emotions and becoming stronger through challenges and failures. How should we do this? The author suggests starting from 2 aspects. First, when facing minor failures, don't see them as a negation of your abilities. Instead, view them as real feedback on your progress. If you've created a product and users give it negative reviews, an excellent product designer won't take these criticisms as blows, but as opportunities to improve the product. Especially with negative feedback, when users point out what's wrong, there's room for improvement. So, if you treat minor failures as feedback, they are just a true reflection of your current progress. If you don't see them as major setbacks, a series of minor failures can actually help you iterate faster and succeed sooner. We mentioned earlier that when you have an idea, you should engage in prototype design and interviews, trying to do some real things, consulting experienced practitioners. What's the essence of this method? It's essentially about letting you experience failure quickly, obtaining real feedback, and making quick, informed decisions about your choices. Even if minor things and unimportant matters fail, the impact is minimal, and each small failure increases our resilience. This way, even if we face major failures later, we can recover faster than others and re-engage in new life designs. Second, when facing major failures, treat life as an infinite game. What is an infinite game? It's a game with no defined start or end time. A game with no winners, aiming to involve more people and keep going forever. This contrasts with finite games, which have a definite end time. For example, scoring 100 on an exam is a finite game because you won't spend your life taking exams. It's just a temporary event. But understanding how the world was formed is an infinite game. You can keep learning until you die. Understanding this is crucial when you face major setbacks because many people feel their lives are over when they face significant failures. In reality, they're just ending that particular endeavor, not their entire lives. Many other things can still be done. One game ends, another begins, continuing until the end of life. So for us, life is an infinite game. Only by understanding this can we truly become immune to major failures. The author teaches us how to become immune to failures, not suggesting that we can ignore them. We also need to do an exercise called reconstructing failures. This involves treating failures as raw materials for creating success, continuously accumulating experience. This exercise has 3 steps. First, record experiences of failure. Then, categorize these failures, for example, seeing if your failure was caused by a basic mistake or by your own weaknesses, and whether the failure contains opportunities for growth. If it was caused by a basic mistake, acknowledge the error and correct it. If it was caused by your own weaknesses, the best solution is to avoid such situations rather than trying to correct them, as human nature is hard to change. Lastly, analyze failures that contain growth opportunities. Ask yourself these questions. Is there room for improvement in this matter? What can I learn from it? What was the fundamental cause of the failure? What approach should I take next time? Record these lessons and apply them to your life. This is what reconstructing failure is all about. It helps us face failures squarely, utilize them, and accelerate our approach to success. You see, although failures are uncomfortable, if we reconsider them using a designer's mindset, they won't have too much negative impact on us and can even help us succeed faster. To summarize, this section discussed how to become immune to failures. We must recognize that failures are inevitable. Accepting this is crucial. We can change our perspective on failures in 2 ways. First, don't view minor failures as a negation of your abilities, but as real feedback on your progress. Second, treat life as an infinite game when facing major failures. We can train ourselves to react to failures, becoming immune to them like we've been vaccinated, reducing the impact of negative emotions, and becoming stronger through challenges and failures. This episode concludes here, offering a comprehensive summary. In this episode, I've detailed how to use design thinking to design your life, covering 4 key points and specific operational techniques. First, if you are unsatisfied with your current life, you need to reassess it. Start by identifying gravity problems, then use the dashboard for testing. Evaluate the 4 key elements of work, health, play, and love to see if they're balanced. By reassessing your life, you'll know where you stand, where the problems are, and where changes are needed. We've also discussed the nature of design thinking, which emphasizes dynamically addressing the challenges at different life stages, treating the discovery, definition, and resolution of problems as a routine. Second, we discussed how to find your direction. Use the Good Time Journal to determine what you want by recording 2 states: energy fluctuations and flow experiences, then adjust your work focus based on what stimulates these states. Third, we discussed how to design more possibilities. Like designers, we need to design 3 life versions: what you can do now, what you would do if your current activities become unfeasible, and what you would do if you could do anything. Then, through prototype experiences and interviews, gain real experiences to test, adjust your plans, and ultimately choose the life design that truly suits you. Fourth, we talked about how to become immune to failures. We must recognize that failures are inevitable. Changing our perspective on failures involves 2 approaches. Don't view minor failures as a negation of your abilities, but as real feedback on your progress. Treat life as an infinite game when facing major failures. We can train ourselves to react to failures, becoming immune to them like we've been vaccinated, reducing the impact of negative emotions, and becoming stronger through challenges and failures. Overall, using a product designer's mindset to design your life can help you understand your position, know your direction, create more possibilities, and face setbacks with resilience. Mastering this way of thinking can lead you to a happy and meaningful life. That's the essence of this book. You can click the description below the video to find the link to the book. Welcome to read it. You can also share this book with your friends. If you like the content of Daily Book Dive, click the subscribe button to stay updated. Your encouragement helps us continue bringing book essence to our community. Congratulations, you've finished another book.